Hi, and welcome to another one of my podcast videos. It's Andrew Edge here, bringing you another update. This one's quite an interesting one I've come across because this is actually kind of one in the face of all these like climate protest deniers sort of things. Because it actually shows the opposite effect of with having CO2 in the atmosphere. So obviously, NASA did a study back in 2016, and obviously, this is one I actually want to bring to you because obviously there's quite a lot of evidence out there. If you actually go on to pretty much any search engine and search the terms NASA regreening, you do get the search results. I'm actually going to go through it with you, so you've got all this on screen. So NASA regreening. So, 20 years ago, with an increase of foliage, the equivalent to all the Amazon rainforest combined, this is known as global greening, is largely driven by the rising of CO2 levels acting as a fertilizer, alongside intensive human-led agricultural and tree planting programs in China and India. But the key findings on the global greening, the scale over the past 2 decades, the Earth has increased its green leaf area by 5%, over 2 million square miles, which is a massive proportion. The primary drivers for this is significant. A portion of a quarter to half of the vegetated land is greening, driven by CO2 fertilization, farming, and forestry. Top contributors are China and India, are leading in greening through land management, specifically intense crop farming and tree planting. And obviously there's notes from the Boston University, which I will go through with you shortly. But the CO2 effect is increased CO2 enhancements, photosynthesis, enabling plants to grow more vigorously, dry land areas. Implications and nuances is limited benefit. While CO2 aids plant growth, it is also a main cause of the climate change. Offset limitations. The greening trend does not necessarily offset the loss of natural vegetation in tropical regions like Brazil and Indonesia. Acclimatization studies suggest that plant may adjust to higher CO2 concentrations over time, reducing the fertilization benefit in the future. Satellite technology. NASA uses instruments like MODIS, moderate resolution imaging spectrometer, and AIRS, the atmospheric infrared sounder, to track this growth. So obviously I can show you some of the other stuff. So you've got the note from the Boston, which is here. So you got the humans artificially greening the earth. Is that a good thing? Which obviously, if we're getting more greener life on the planet, it's obviously going to be a good thing. As it says here, Shi Shen, a Boston University graduate researcher, and Rangamin, a BU professor of Earth and Environment, are lead and senior authors of a new paper and Nature Sustainability that reveal how humans are influencing the Earth's plant and tree cover. On the surface, it may look like a no-brainer that greening of the planet would be a good thing for reducing atmospheric carbon, but taking a closer look, the authors help us see not all leaves grow up to be equals. Because obviously there is the other side of things, because obviously you've still got to always have so much carbon in the atmosphere for it to be, to keep helping things grow, and also we can't have none, otherwise life can't exist. That's the other side of things which a lot of people don't understand. But looking at the remote sensing data from NASA satellites, we've discovered that over the last 2 decades, the Earth has increased in green leaf area by a total of 5%, which is roughly 5.5 million square kilometres, and increasing equivalent the size of the entire rainforest. The two countries that have been most responsible for the global greening came as a surprise to us. We found that China and India, the world's first and second most populous and still developing countries, are leading in the world greening due to widespread crop farming. But is all this extra leaf cover from the agricultural helping or hindering our planet's health? And it then goes on to say, well, each year about 10 to 11 billion tonnes of the CO2 is emitted into the atmosphere from carbon sources such as burning fossil fuels and tropical deforestation, and half of those emissions are stored temporarily in equal parts of ocean soils, land and plants, and Earth's so-called carbon sinks. Green leaves produce sugars using energy from the sunlight to mix CO2 absorbed from the surrounding air with the water nutrients soaked up from the ground. These sugars, whose production helps eliminate CO2 from the atmosphere, are a source of food, fibre and fuel for life on Earth. Based on this knowledge, more greenery sounds like a good thing. Here's the catch: not all plants are created equally. So obviously you've got to take into consideration all that, but then obviously you've got the NASA side of things, which is where I want to share the things with you, because there are some videos showing this as well. There's a 52-second video. This is the Earth getting greener. Wait, hold on, just let me make sure the sound's working for that one. How's that working? And then that'll be fine now. And where warmer temperatures are now helping plants to grow. Scientists say of the Alps in Central Africa have become greener Earth right now. So there's that short little video there. And then they do have another, that's obviously the imagery now. And then there is another short video they've got as well. Oh no, that's it. But obviously, it's quite interesting with what this information is coming out, because it kind of like puts a different perspective on things. Because as it continues on in the other document, it says, obviously, moving forward, we recommend the Earth system models be refined to include key human land use practices identified by the work, such as crop rotation, irrigation and fertilizer use, fallowing and abandonment of land, afforestation, reforestation and deforestation, all of which influence atmospheric carbon in different ways. This work was funded by NASA Earth Science District, and obviously I agree, we've never should have never just gone with the full thing of like down the roots. It's always climate change, because there's all the planet's a natural state, and we go hot to cold, but NASA will spot these things, because you think they have satellites up there 24/7, and that's why these things get spotted, but they don't get pointed out to us on a daily basis. You have to go digging for this information. That's why I say, go out there, read this information for yourself. There's plenty of information out there. Plus, there is further information. You can go on to Grok And again, there's further information onto there. There's a lot of heavy information on there for it as well. So it's not just biased with it being onto there, because obviously it does include lots of information with the dry lands, including parts of Sale, which is in the Sahara, show greening as well. So it's not just in likes of China and India, Sahara Desert on the outskirts of that. There's greening out there, so it's worth looking into. And it does also say the amount of greening is roughly twice the size of the continental part of United States of America. That's the size of this. So obviously I would physically push this on you guys to physically think. Please take a moment. Think about it. Don't just always think we need to have this go green agenda, because yes, we still need fossil fuels, because look at the price of everything at the moment. These things here are happening for a reason. We have ice. In the past, we've had ice ages. The planet naturally heats up. We have weird people in this world that just don't do the research. Whereas we now live in a time where we can get real-time data. We can do the research on the fly. It's so easy these days. But I'll leave you with this. But please do your research. Please share this wide. We need to get sort of information out there. Again, thank you very much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.